Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody had a good Christmas weekend. Did you have a good Christmas, Dan?
Yeah.
Get anything cool for Christmas?
Yeah, I got Cats in Space shirt.
Oh,
You
nice.
saw that last
Yeah,
video.
I guess I saw that. Yeah.
It was funny because I got Cats in Space and I got my daughter Taco Cats.
Yeah.
And
Was
it was from
that
the same company, and it was just hilarious that we both found the same thing for each other.
that's not like something you guys do every year? Is it like buy you a cat shirt or something, or just a?
No, but the last couple of years, she's always bought me some funny shirt for because she likes to see them in the videos.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. A lot of people in my family, a lot of my friends send me shirts. Like they'll try to find something so obnoxious I won't wear it. Every now and then they succeed.
Oh man. What's the line for shirts then? Like, can you give us an example of one you don't want to wear?
Sexually explicit, I won't wear something. Something that's offending people that I like. I won't wear it.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good rule of thumb, I guess. Oh, anyway, what have you been up to? I haven't talked to you today much.
I was hunting pretty hard until Christmas when they shut her down. But worked today, and now I'm getting ready to head up north for a hunt.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were gonna talk about a little bit on the show. We got quite a few topics really though that before we get into that. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you like what we're doing, and hit that like button for the video too. That always helps. We do take questions at the end of each show. So if you guys have a question for me or Dan, just leave them in the comment section and I'll go through them. I'll thumb through them at the end, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. Also, I'll throw a link up at the end whenever we do the question and answers for anybody that wants to get on and talk to us live and ask questions live. Just make sure that you're in an appropriate spot, and obviously you'll be talking in front of 300 to 500 people. So just make sure everything you say is appropriate as well. And yeah, thanks everybody for getting on tonight. We do have a news story that we'll probably chat about for a while. I have a feeling there was some. It's from the article I read about it. I got it up here on my thing so I wouldn't forget. It's the outdoornews.com. I think it's your guys' Wisconsin
Outdoors.
Yeah. Sounds like they had a doe test positive for CWD in Buffalo County, Wisconsin.
Oh, that should be interesting.
On the 24th. So what I thought was weird was the guy shot the doe opening day of gun, which was like over a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like that's a long time to just now be figuring out it's positive to me. But
yeah, it takes them a while to test them for some reason.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They usually get your deer about half eaten by the time they tell you it had CWD.
I wouldn't think it would be that. I don't know. It has to be just some type of a swab. I don't know.
They do. I think they actually test the brains.
Yeah.
Because I know they want the head.
Yeah, they take the head off of them, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Do they still, in Wisconsin, if you give up your buck, or not give it up, but test it for CWD and it tests positive and they take the, do they give you another buck tag now?
Yeah, you get to keep the antlers and stuff too, but
Right.
they give you another tag, I believe.
I know it used to be like that. I mean, I
Yeah, I'm
checked.
not positive they still do it, but I know that they were for a while. Yeah,
Have
they're
you ever?
probably still doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever got one tested or anything
I
back in the
only
day?
test them when they forced me to. Otherwise, I refuse.
What year do they? What years was that? Whenever they were forcing people to test them, you
Ah,
remember?
geez, it was in the early 2000s when it first
Yeah.
came out. When it first came to Wisconsin, um, they decided they were gonna not just manage it; they were gonna eradicate deer in Wisconsin. They
Hmm.
were gonna kill every single deer in southern Wisconsin. Think about how stupid that is, and in the task, they literally, when it first came here, they got helicopters. They're shooting them out of helicopters. They're getting snipers. They were shooting them at night with spotlights. They were shooting them over bait piles. Um, they even had a period of time where they gave unlimited tags. You could shoot
Yeah.
all the deer you wanted. And then to try to entice you for a while, they did earn a buck, where for every doe that you shot, you got a buck tag, and you could use it either or. So you could build up your buck tags for gun by shooting does with the bow, and vice versa. Um, and I remember people shooting 30 or 40 bucks in one year, neighbors and stuff. I mean, we
Oh
used to
my
have a
gosh.
really, really good population of deer here.
Mhm.
And to me, it seemed more like the governor we had in charge at that time frame um, was really interested in knocking the population down. And that was his main goal. And he couldn't do it because in Wisconsin, the hunters run the DNR. They work for
Hmm.
us, and we wouldn't allow it. So they were able to use the disease as an excuse to knock the population way down. And they came up with some just extreme laws and stuff, and really kind of hurt our population, in my opinion. I think we had a really good thing going, and obviously the disease didn't do anything like they said it was going to. Like we all knew. I mean, a lot of us that were smart enough that have been around the block a few times, knew enough to study this outside of what they were telling us and learn what has happened in other places. And it was pretty obvious that what they were telling us wasn't going to happen. They were alluding to it was going to cross over and affect people, and people were going to get CWD and die. But if you looked into it, in I think it's Colorado, Wyoming, out in the West,
Colorado.
they had it longer than I've been alive. And
Yeah, it
people,
was in. Yeah, I think it started in Colorado, like in the '60s, maybe, or early.
right, right.
I
I was
don't know.
born in '67, and I know it started before I was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
And they have never gone to the point of getting all freaked out about it. And literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people have eaten CWD positive deer, and nobody has ever gotten sick from it.
Hmm.
They actually took people who got a couple of people who got one of those brain disease, that whatever it is, something Jacobs disease.
Hmm.
And even though they knew that has nothing to do with CWD, they tried to tie it together and said, these guys ate venison once, and they put it all over the news. And it's like, geez.
Oh my gosh.
Right. I mean, it was pretty horrific. I mean, it was hard to swallow. I mean, you'd see people just killing deer after, well, the DNR wants us to, they'd say, and it was hard. I mean, hard to watch. I mean, when you respect the animals the way I do, it was
Yeah.
hard to watch them do that. And it was kind of funny to listen to their analogy, because they said, in order to save the deer in southern Wisconsin, we have to eradicate the deer in southern Wisconsin. How are you saving them?
Hmm.
And at the same time, um, they're doing this research and stuff, and it shows that once CWD is in the soil, it's there forever. So what are you
Right.
saying? You kill all the deer so that you later on can have a deer population, but you can never bring them back because they'll get CWD. And then you bring this up to them. Well, someday maybe we'll figure out how to fix it and we can bring deer back. It's like, geez. When you look into it, it literally is everywhere they check for it. Every place they do a heavy check for it, they find it. I mean, there's been deer found like roaming in the deserts of Arizona that have CWD, and there wasn't any state anywhere near there for any place, hundreds of miles from there that had CWD. Now, where'd that deer come from? Because it travels in the blood, it travels in the feces, it travels in the dirt. CWD isn't a living thing. It's a prion. It's not alive. So it's indefinite. It doesn't die. You don't kill it. It's just always there. And if a deer consumes that, he gets it, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're saying it leaches into the soil and it's all over the soil, and every place these deer get into numbers with CWD, it gets into the soil. All you have to do is sell a roll of sod to some other state and they got it. All you have to do is drive your truck through a muddy field and then drive it into another state, they got it. Then at the same time, they didn't want to stop sales of deer urine, and the deer farms are what has it. So they spread this deer urine not only across the United States, but they're selling it in Canada, they're selling it in Mexico, they're selling it every place they have whitetails from these deer farms. And until that farm tests positive for CWD, they don't stop those sales. And then once it tests positive, it's already in every country. So they weren't trying to combat it in a way of actually stopping the spread. They were doing it in a way that was just like, we'll kill all the deer and it'll stop. But they weren't doing things that would stop the deer from spread. I mean, just think about a dead deer floats into the Mississippi River. Now,
happens all the time, by the way.
400 miles downstream, they got CWD.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no stopping this disease. I mean, you want to try to come up with a cure, try to come up with a cure. You want to try to stop it from spreading, as in making rules from not taking it over state borders or county lines. Hey, that's probably a good idea. Yeah. But that disease is spreading everywhere anyways, and you are not stopping it. All you do is slightly slow it down. And they weren't even doing a good job of that. And at the same time, for something that they know they couldn't stop, I mean, they were spending hundreds of millions of dollars just in my home state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to share this. This is the testing information from the actual Wisconsin DNR website here. And, these are the sick deer that they tested for CWD. And you can see, I think since 2002, like this is, I don't know if it's around 300. I added them up earlier, but I can't remember. 383 deer tested positive that they thought had CWD essentially. And then up here's your guys' number. It must have been in like 2002 to 2006 whenever the testing was required. That sound about right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that time frame, because there's just a drastically more amount of testing done right here than any other years. But I guess to put these numbers in perspective, like I think in Wisconsin, I read that on average every year 19,000 deer get hit by a car and die from car accidents. And like when we're talking about 1,000 deer, that these deer didn't even die, they just tested positive. I mean, they probably died from gunshot wounds, but not from CWD. Now these ones had CWD or had CWD and were sick, but whatever, I don't know. This year there's been 6 of them, and from 2002 to 2011 there was in single digits all those years. So it's just like,
golly, in their defense, they're testing a lot less.
Yeah, back then they were testing a lot less sick deer.
Testing more then than they are now. I mean, as far as deer being shot,
yeah.
There was a time when they mandated everybody got their deer tested. I mean, now I don't know too many serious deer hunters who would let them test their deer, because when they test their deer, if it comes back positive, they're going to just murder their county.
Right. It's like 6% of the deer tested, I guess, were positive for CWD, and roughly, you can't really tell exactly how many were actually tested, but it's around 20,000, and around 1,300 were positive in 2019, which that seemed like I don't know. This graph seems weird too, because this bar looks smaller than this one, and there's more tested. But
I mean, they literally had graphs when they first started this that said that if we didn't eradicate all the deer within 5 years, there wouldn't be any deer in Wisconsin. 10 years, there wouldn't be any in the United States. And they had graphs and stuff. And like, here we are, we still got deer, and we didn't do what they said that we had to do.
Right. You don't care if I put what county you're in here, do I? Do you, Dan?
Oh, go ahead. Everybody knows. What is interesting is
what county is it? I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Jefferson.
Jefferson. I was going to go Jackson. That's what county I'm in, though. Oh yeah, look at that. How many they tested that year in your county?
Yeah, what's interesting is that now they got one they tested in Buffalo County. And what's interesting about that is they're going to get some fighting on that if they try to do something there, because that's all managed land. That's all outfitters. That's big money that's there. So those people are going to fight tooth and nail from having their populations decimated, you know?
Yeah.
That's your livelihood. That county literally is dirt poor except for hunting.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first positive test in Buffalo County then, right? Yeah.
I believe so, based on
it looks like on this graph they have 0 across the board, so yeah. I've tried to like continually educate myself on the issue of CWD, and it's hard for me to understand that drastic opinion some people have of it as like the end of deer as we know it. I'm like, I don't see it, you know. And I'm fairly open-minded to that kind of
stuff. Worst case scenario, if it's as bad as they say it is, it kills all the deer. But there's no way you're going to stop that. And I don't see that happening, because when I'm looking at populations, you see it get pretty heavy in certain areas. And I have literally scouted properties for people where you find dead deer all over the place in the core of the CWD area in Wisconsin, like around Mount Horeb and stuff. So I've seen it is killing some deer.
Sure.
So it's factual, but it's not killing all of them. And I know there's been some studies that some deer have CWD and live a long time and even breed and everything else.
Yeah. And I guess I get it. Like at the beginning of all this, maybe being a little bit like, maybe we should do something. And then, but it's like after 20 years, it's like, you know, we got a pretty good amount of information about it now that we've didn't have back then. Maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe we did have it back then. And
it's a lot of it's politics, you know.
Yeah.
Look at the seriousness of CWD. It's so serious that when we as hunters shoot a deer, we can't dispose of any bones or anything in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
We can't throw them out in the backyard. They have to be disposed of in a certain way legally, because they're considered hazardous material, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, at the same time frame, they stopped picking up roadkill deer because it got too expensive to dispose of them the proper way. So you're supposed to just leave them decompose on your lawn or wherever they die in the same areas.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. You just can't do that with one you shot. You know, you can't throw the bones in your yard, or you can't, like some people like to cut them up in the field and take them out, take the meat out.
Yeah.
You can't leave one piece of bone out there, or, you know.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of contradicting rules and stuff that have come about from it.
Right.
In Indiana, we don't have, I mean, knock on wood, we never had too many issues with it.
They had a woman who did a study one time. She was contracted by the DNR. She was a biologist to do a study to prove that lowering the deer numbers would lower the progression of CWD, to prove to the hunters that lowering the number would help.
Yeah.
So she did this study, and it actually found the exact opposite. It found that when she lowered the numbers, the bucks would expand their home ranges to look for does. So they would go from a small core area in a large population to a very large area moving around. And it actually, the bucks were the main carriers of CWD. Now does get it, but bucks get it much more prevalent than does for some reason. and they would increase their home range dramatically and spread the disease further faster. And her graphs showed that, and they hid that document and fired her.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And all she did was release what the study showed that they asked her to do.
I have heard people like whatever CWD experts say that you should on your farms shoot the small bucks because they are the main carriers of the disease because they tend to travel farther and whatever, their home range is bigger and specifically the small bucks.
So when the draconian liberal governor we had that started the kill 'em all thing,
Mm-hmm.
he finally got voted out in the middle of it, and Scott
Mm-hmm.
Walker got voted in. Scott Walker tried to make him use a little more reason
Yeah.
and start thinking about the disease a little better, and he forced them to work with the people, the hunters,
Yeah.
and he made them make a board. He mandated that they had to have this I think they call it CDAC board,
Mm-hmm.
and invite people from the public in to oversee what the DNR was doing. And I remember they put this thing out. They wanted people that were like leaders in their community in the deer world, like a farmer who's a big, like, runs the farming commission or whatever. They wanted a deer hunter who's like well known in the hunting industry. I remember it even stating like on social media, on and our biologist asked me if I'd be interested in that. We had a meeting in town here, and we were talking about CWD because I was really a strong opponent of what was going on. And the biologist I felt that we had at that time agreed with me, but his hands were tied. And we'd have discussions about it. And he had some pull. Him and the warden at the time both recommended me for that position. And it was turned down. They took some nobody. And it turns out, in my opinion, and I really believe this, they were cherry picking who they put on that CDAC board to people that would go along with whatever they told them to do. Like they would tell these guys, because we got some CDAC board members that are on my forum, and I'd get in arguments with them. They would tell me that, well, the only thing I can choose is kill more deer this way or kill more deer that way. I'm like, that ain't why Scott put you on that board. He made that board for you to oversee what they're doing, not to choose kill more deer by having a doe season or kill more deer by, having an extended season. You're supposed to have some decisions in there, but that's what they were doing is they would cherry pick the people that oversee them. And that's been, we've had some talks about this in the past with other things, like them selling off our hunting property.
Mm-hmm.
They don't got no right to do that. They can sell properties, but they have to have the okay of the people. We're their boss.
Yeah.
There's no meetings about it or anything. They do it in the shadow of darkness. And when you question them, they stop answering your questions. It was the same thing with CWD.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Buffalo County. Cause like you said, there's that place is just full of outfitters and property managers essentially. And
when you got people that are are controlling millions of dollars of property and literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of trophy hunts a year, and they're being told they're going to get their deer demolished, their deer herd demolished, and they're not going to have a choice, they're going to get some kickback. They're going to get lawyers sick down. I mean, you wouldn't get that out of a county like I'm in. It's just a bunch of cornfields, and some swamps. But in Buffalo County, if they start pushing their weight around, they're going to get some kickback for sure, I think.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's better now, though? Do you think maybe it won't be as big a deal as what it would have been back then?
I do. I do think that that to some degree, the people that were really draconian about it are gone.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that are still there have that were kind of in the belief that this is the end all disease, have kind of seen that it's not. I mean, time has passed and it hasn't killed deer, and they're kind of starting to understand that, maybe this was wrong. But I still think that they want to manage it, and I do agree they should manage it. They should try to go in there and do some things about it and try to solve some things and try to come up with some solutions. But I think just this all of a sudden kill all the deer things, I don't want to see that ever come back.
What do you think about all like the? I was kind of glancing at some of the comments about the bait banning and all that. Do you think that does anything at all, or is that just like another thing to?
You
And I
know,
don't want. I'm not talking about like I don't want any opinions about like if it should be legal or not for deer. I mean,
right? I get you, just for disease wise,
yeah,
and I do think there's a little bit to it. Now, personally, what you didn't want to hear is that I think if some old guy wants to bait, he should be able to bait.
yeah,
But from the disease standpoint, if a deer eats out of a pile of corn that's in a pile, and another deer comes and eats where this thing was drooling, and he touches that CWD, he's going to get CWD.
yeah,
So from that standpoint, I agree. I mean, they could make you spread the bait out so it's not in one spot where a deer's eating out of the same pile or something. They could do some
yeah,
things, but I do believe that if you're putting bait in a pile, that you could be spreading the disease. Yeah,
yeah. But the problem is, it's like they're going to spread it anyway. Like they just licked a branch all that every deer in the woods is licked. 2 minutes ago before they uh, went over to the corn pile. It's just like you're not, like you probably just said, you're not going to stop
yeah,
it by that doing that.
yeah.
Uh,
I did some pretty heavy studying on it, and there's some pretty unique things about CWD. One of the things was that 24% of the population has an immunity to it. Now,
mm,
it's not 100% immunity, but they have some sort of genetic immunity to it where it's a lot harder for them to get the disease.
mm-hmm.
And that's where killing all the deer is not a good thing, because that 24% could genetically start taking over and overcome the disease, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So what they learned about that is in Penn studies that the 24% that had a genetic disposure,
Mm-hmm.
um, they wouldn't get the disease unless it was really exposed to them heavily, which in a natural, like wild arena, I don't think happens too often.
Yeah.
Kind of like somebody, like some people have they just, somebody sneezes 3 doors down and they get the flu, right? And
Right.
some people can walk in with somebody with a flu and hang with them, make out with them, eat the same sandwich, and they don't get it.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I think, yeah, it just seems like to me it was just an unknown factor for a while that got way blown out of proportion, and now it's just like it's a bunch of people that don't want to admit that they were, probably didn't go about it the right way, and now here we are still kind of talking about it every now and again. But
Yeah, I don't want to talk too harsh about them. I mean, I want to see what they do about it before I
yeah,
say too much. But
yep,
it is different people working in there. So
yep. I'm with you though. Like I think it's something you got everybody like every year we need to keep an eye on it and just make sure it doesn't start to do something
yeah.
crazy. But
So what was that number that you quoted earlier? I think it was before we were even live. $70 million Wisconsin spent.
yeah, that was from a Ted Nugent clip I watched on YouTube. He said $70 million was spent in Wisconsin, and like every time I've heard anybody talk about CWD, they are always referring to what Wisconsin did uh,
Right.
as a
And what they
case
don't
study.
realize is Wisconsin was at the time that Wisconsin did all those things and spent all that money.
Yeah,
Our governor had a side job working for the auto insurance company,
yeah,
and he was driven to stop deer accidents, which is huge in Wisconsin, right?
yeah.
You know where he works now? He didn't even run again. He's got a cushy job at that auto insurance company. He doesn't even
Oh,
show up for work. He just gets paid a commission.
hmm,
So something went on there. But $70 million, and really absolutely nothing has changed with CWD.
yeah, hmm,
Not one thing.
yeah. This was I don't know. Ted Nugent was on. It was a Michigan Great Outdoors show, and he was on there talking about it, and they were going through the kind of the same thing in Michigan, and he was referring to Wisconsin a whole bunch, using them as kind of a case study of what you all did back then. But he's been on Joe Rogan too and talked about it in great lengths because you know um, Joe's had other people that are kind of on the other side of the argument for controlling CWD on his show, and Ted was kind of the opposite view. But it's a topic that people seem like they're very on one side or the other on. But I don't know. I seem like at least the people I talk to in the deer hunting world, I haven't yet to find too many people that are super worried about it. So,
Yeah, they had that fear factor going on with if you eat it, you could die.
yeah,
And we have to do something before it could genetically change and suddenly start killing people, is what they would say, right? And
yeah,
it was funny, and I made a statement back then, and I said, one of them DNR guys said to me, so you would eat a deer that's sick? I'm like, I probably wouldn't intentionally eat a deer that's sick. And he's like, aha. And I'm like, well, I'd eat a sick deer before I would, like lick a rabid bat, and you don't do nothing about rabies. And that's actually killing people.
yeah,
That's a disease that actually kills people. You're going to kill every raccoon and every skunk and every rabbit and every squirrel and every fox in the state. The method of killing everything to save everything was just stupid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, I don't know if it's gonna if it's going to eventually kill every deer in the United States, killing them all right now, I don't know if that's
Yeah, that's how are you going to save
it's like why don't you just let us prolong it a little bit if it's going to do it anyway,
I don't know if that guy was related to Hitler that came up with that or what.
And I mean, I know, like I used to work in the poultry industry, and when they would get us like avian influenza, you would depopulate them, but you could also like kill that in a chicken house because it's a controlled environment. You could go in and sanitize it, heat it up, kill the disease, take out all the manure, clean all. You could get rid of the disease because it's literally in a box.
Right.
But like to your point, you can't clean the dirt or the cornfield out in the farmer's cornfield, but.
Right.
Anyway.
Literally, you got to remember too that you can't digest a prion.
Yeah.
Right. So if a coyote, a wolf, or catch this, a vulture or an eagle that flies hundreds of miles, eats the stuff, flies over another state and craps, they now got CWD.
Right.
Because you can't digest it, you can't kill it. They had a farm where the deer got CWD. They killed all the deer in it. They burnt the ground, brought deer in there, they got CWD. So then they took and they bleached the ground. They bleached it, they burned it, they let it sit for like 10 years, brought deer back in, and as soon as they brought the deer in, deer immediately got CWD.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm all for coming up with a cure for it or something like that if it's even possible.
Right.
But killing all the deer isn't curing it.
Right.
It's just killing the ones that also got a disposition to survive through it.
Right.
It'd be like if COVID came in, they killed everybody because they wanted to save us all from COVID, so they just kill everybody.
Yeah, people have a little different opinion about it. I think if that was the solution, right?
Right.
All right, you want to talk about something different now? We've been blabbing about CWD for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you might want to shut me up before I get in trouble.
I'm getting good at cutting you off whenever you're too fired up about something.
Yeah.
No, you're good. If you ever think Dan's too fired up, go listen to Ted Nugent talk about it. He really gets fired up about it. Anyway, all right. So we got to go ahead.
Did you watch the video I put up?
Yep, I did. Watched it this morning.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What you think?
Kind
of interesting video, but I think that's kind of what everybody has to deal with. I don't know if everybody saw that, but I went through a couple of hunts where it looked like almost a sure thing, where I was going to get on action for sure.
Yep.
I went and I hunted by Dave's place, and I went in the back, and I saw a deer go through. So I get down and I leave, and I sneak out, and where that deer went through in the fresh snow, there's like 10 sets of tracks and a couple big buck tracks. So I know during daylight when I saw the one deer, all these deer came through because they weren't there when I came in. So I sneak out thinking, well, I can come in tomorrow and kill him where I saw that deer. And then I get back in further on the farm, and another bedding area had a whole bunch of deer come out. And I look, I can still see them feeding out in the cut cornfield, and I just sneak out of there. And when I come back the next day to hunt, here my little trespasser buddy's back, and he had driven all over the farm on an ATV. Luckily, he got stuck in the mud, so he didn't get all the way to the back. So I thought, well, maybe I got a chance. So I went back there and hunted. And while I'm hunting, I can hear him doing donuts out there, and he's doing donuts around my truck and stuff on an ATV and stuff. And not one deer moved on the farm, so he'd kicked all the deer out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, we took care of him. The landowner had him served with a trespass warrant. But then the next day, I go and I find where deer were coming out of the cattail marsh going into a cornfield.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just a little bit backtrack them, see where they're going in, back out, go back and get my stuff, and I come back, and there's some pheasant hunters in the parking lot just leaving their truck. So I drive by, let them get out, and come back, and there's like a grassy area on one side, and then the other side's got just cattails, and then there's a little island of like dogwood and stuff out there where the deer are coming from, where it's not pheasant territory at all, but I just didn't want those guys to see where I went. So I go over and I slip over the hill, and I get to where those deer, all the tracks are coming out of that bedding area, and I hear something, look up, I can see orange in the bedding area, and here the guys are out there, and I can hear them talking about deer tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're pheasant hunting, they're scouting for deer for the doe season. So that ruined that spot. So then I go scouting some more, and I find this spot where there's just so many deer tracks, it's unbelievable. And it just looks like it's really going to be something. You can see some good looking bedding areas, but it's an area that gets pheasant hunted just like crazy. It's all grass, and nobody really deer hunts there much, you know? So I get in there, and I went back home, got some stuff, come back, and now there's tracks going in there and out, but they just go into the grass where the, you know, kind of not where I want them to go, but like, probably won't hurt me too much. I get in a tree, and a little while later I hear ding, 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 and here comes a dog with a bell on, and a guy. And literally, for the pheasant hunters to get to me, they got to either go through this deep dike or cross this little tiny land bridge. But all the deer were crossing that land bridge too. So this guy stops, starts looking at the deer tracks, comes in, I whistled at him. I get no response. His dog comes running right over to me when I whistled, and it's standing underneath me, wagging its tail, looking at me. And he looks over and yells, "Jake!" And the dog runs over by him. And I'm wearing an orange hat, just so that people will be able to see me if somebody does come back here. So you can't miss me. And my stand platform was only 4 feet off the ground. It got me just up out into the brush. So you can't miss me, you know. But he goes straight out into the brush, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, he's going to probably go and pound the grass over there. And I'd heard a pheasant in there roosting, cackling. So I figured he heard it too, probably. But he's in there. I never heard a shot or anything. He's in there for quite a while. And it's getting close to closing time. There's like 15 minutes left. And then I hear something to my left, and I look over, and right out of the buck bedding area comes his dog. And then comes him. And he walks straight to my tree, right underneath me. And at 6 feet, he's standing 6 feet from me. I go, "Howdy."
Yeah.
And he just ignores me, walks past, walks in a circle around me. I just film him the whole time. And he walks out. And then I just got down and I leave. And then he's at the truck. So I had the camera running when he was telling me, "Oh, were you out there hunting? I didn't see you. I didn't hear anything."
Yeah.
Pretty sure he knew I was there.
Yeah. But that's funny. I don't know. He just, kind of weird. It was odd that he never looked up at you or anything, did he?
No, he didn't make eye contact or anything. I mean, there's a possibility maybe he didn't know. I mean,
yeah. Was he an older guy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He could sure hear me talking at the truck, though. I mean, how could he not hear howdy? That sound.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's preoccupied or whatever. But you know, my point is that that's what everybody deals with. Yeah. But when you turn on YouTube or you turn on the show, any of these channels anybody has out there, all they show you is the positives, and it makes people feel like they're inadequate. like they're doing something wrong when this stuff's happening. And that's why people struggle so much. They're like, why is this happening to me? It's not happening to anybody else. And it's happening to everybody.
That's right.
You go through a lot of those hunts before you get a normal, decent hunt where you actually, everything goes right, you know?
Yeah. Yep. No, that's true. I think that's what's the draw to like stuff like what we do is that real life scenario, not so scripted feeling, you know. Yeah, that's how I would describe your kind of your entire season though, is just kind of some bad luck, you know.
You know where I'm at. People probably don't realize this because they see the success end of things.
Yeah.
But you've seen it. I mean, you've been over here where I'm at. There's a huge population of people, and there is a lot of pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing I got going is the genetics are really good, and I have a high deer population so they can't kill everything, and I have dense swamps that keep them alive. But
Right.
pressure-wise, there is just a ton of hunters of all sorts, hikers of all sorts, all kinds of pressure here.
Yep. Is there a lot of bird hunters, or just, I mean, is it just that particular area?
There's a lot of bird hunters.
Is there?
As far as pheasant hunters and duck hunters, there's a ton. Now ducks, only if you got water.
Right.
But pheasant hunters, they release pheasants here. They actually they're tame birds. They buy them from pheasant farms and release them. It's kind of actually, I don't want to knock on pheasant hunters, but it's kind of weird that people would even want to do that because they're literally like tame birds. I get them in my yard. When I go feed the raccoons and stuff, they hear the dog food in the bag rattle, and they think it's corn, and they come running.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and I don't have anything against people wanting to do it or anything, but I'm with you. I'm kind of like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of, could you imagine? It'd be just like going out to a deer hunting property and like, we're going to let 16, 40, 150 inch deer loose here for you guys to shoot. You know, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's probably not quite like that, but.
And like 97 or 98% of them get shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's a breeding population. Some do make it through and some will breed, but they won't last for generations. You can't get a population here. They don't belong here. They're actually the definition of what the DNR would call a invasive species. They're from China. Yeah, they're from China.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even belong here.
Yeah. I thought you just meant your habitat wasn't good for them or something.
No,
but
no, it's perfect because they take the deer habitat, they mow it down and make it into pheasant habitat.
Yeah.
They make money off the pheasants. So, I mean, I'll have some really good dogwood patch. You know how I like those patches that are right next to the road?
Yeah.
Well, they love those for pheasants because if they can put grass in there, you know, then a pheasant hunter can park right there and hunt. And so they literally make a lot of pheasant habitat out of the stuff that was deer hunting habitat.
Yeah. I don't know. I always try to take the attitude of those guys probably like pheasant hunting as much as we do deer.
Yeah, they don't know anything. I'm not trying to knock pheasant hunters.
No,
I'm not mad at you or anything. I'm fine. I just don't understand it personally from a personal aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even gone out and shot one or two myself. Not in a few years, but
there's probably two guys on a show right now complaining about deer hunters that are some pheasant hunting show. So
yeah.
We don't have that down here. We don't have pheasants in southern Indiana. I mean, not enough to speak of. And I don't think they do any put and take or whatever they call that, put and take hunts around here. I've never at least heard of them. But we also, I'm not a deer hunter or not a pheasant hunter. So
you ever go to one of them pheasant clubs? I don't know what they got down there, but in Wisconsin they got these like hunting clubs. I don't know if it's a club or what it's called. Yeah. But they got one down the street from me. I'm not going to name it because I don't want them to get mad at me. They're friends of mine, but they have what they call a tower, and they literally surround it with like 100 different hunters who sit around drinking beer, watching the tower. And they got a guy that goes up the tower and just throws pheasants out, and they all shoot at it. Literally, and they call it a tower shoot. And they'll throw out like 100 pheasants or whatever, and it's like crazy. I'm like, that's fun. That's like animal cruelty to me, you know. And then they don't even eat the pheasant that they shoot because 10 guys shoot it. So then they just go out and they give the guy a pheasant that they have cleaned from the inside. And they have a guy that, it's just, Just
Yeah.
not knocking it, just not for me.
Yeah. Well, it does seem like the bird hunting community gets away with a lot more. Like birds don't have souls or something, like people
Yeah.
that shoot. There's like a level, like you got your birds are down here, and then you got like rabbits and squirrels, and then you get your deer, and then like a bear. People get pretty upset about people shooting bears.
Yeah.
But
You know,
anyway, it's
when I was 18 or 20 or something, I'd probably went and pounded those and laughed and had beers with the guys and did the same thing.
yeah,
But there's something about time as you get older, you start to get a little bit of passion for those animals. Not everybody does, but for me, I mean, I start putting myself in that position, and you're like, oh man, that's just kind of not right. And
yeah,
it's, you know, I don't want to sound like some sort of animal rights activist or something. It's just that I got a lot of respect for those animals.
yeah,
Basically, that
yeah.
it's just hard to watch. I don't mind them. I would much rather they do the put and take thing, but than the tower
Mhm.
thing.
I think that's how my dad and my uncles, because they run coyote dogs, and it's
Hmm.
just those three and maybe another guy or two that goes sometimes. And I think they're to the point now that they just rather just not shoot anything and just let the dogs, run the coyotes, because they only got a few handful of properties they can hunt anymore. So if they shoot all the coyotes, then they don't have any more to take their
Hmm.
dogs out and all that. And but it's the same kind of.
Plenty up here. They can shoot these ones.
Yeah. Oh, they'll still shoot them, but I think every time they do, they're like, may not be another one in there now. No, there's plenty of coyotes around here, especially in the hills. Um. Anyway, what about Michigan?
So Michigan. So
Yep.
me and Eric are going up to the UP, and we're going to do a little challenge up there. We invited the Barber Boys, so that should be fun. People watching this probably don't know who the Barber Boys are, but they've got a small YouTube page, or some local people. That's how I know of them. They live
Yeah.
around here. Um, most
They're
people know the name Macy Barber.
yeah.
The boy's sister is Macy, and Macy is she was one of the top 10 UFC fighters for her weight, for
Yep.
featherweight.
Mhm.
She's an incredible fighter.
Mhm.
Um, but the whole family's fighters, but they also hunt. And those boys have been catching my eyes, and they are just killing some slob bucks, and they are just great hunters. And I'd like to expose them a little bit and have them get some publicity, because their page ain't doing nothing, but they are incredible people and incredible hunters, and got really high morals and ethics. And I just like those guys. So we invited them. They're coming up to hunt with us, and we're kind of hoping we hit the whitetail migration up there. Um, I don't know if we will or not. The timing is kind of there, um, with when the snow hit. The snow gets to a certain depth, and the deer go from high ground to low ground, and they go to the yards. And if you hit it right, you can sit on one of them trails and really see a lot of deer. From my
Mhm.
from what I've heard, I've never hunted it, but I'd like to. And if we did miss it, we'll get them in the yards. So we'll go to where the deer yards are, and hunt there. Me and Eric both got 2 buck tags, and we each got a
Right.
doe tag. And I don't know what the Barber Boys are buying, but they're meeting me up there tomorrow night. I'm leaving early in the morning, and I'll be hunting tomorrow. And it's a good time frame, because I'm not going to hunt here because of the stupid doe hunt. So
Yeah. You got that in this show.
I knew I'd get that in there.
Yeah. That would be fun though. I'm excited to see the video, so everybody can look forward to that video here in a couple
Yeah,
of weeks,
I've
probably or
been
next week.
told. Now, I don't know if this is fact, but somebody told me they got 3 feet of snow up there. If there is, that should be interesting.
Yeah. Someone
Good part is that we're going to get some. It's going to warm up a little.
someone asked a question that's related to what we're talking about right now. What they asked what a deer yard is, and I honestly don't know either. So that's a good question.
Mm. That's probably a northern term.
Yep.
A deer yard is a place where all the deer go to winter, where they live in the winter to feed. Usually, it's usually like conifer swamps, like cedar and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll actually eat the green leaves. They'll also get near clear cuts that got, if they're young enough and have like good
Yeah.
aspen growth and stuff, they'll eat in those too. But I think the cedar swamps are the big attraction.
Yeah.
I guess I'll find up a little more when I get up there.
Right. Right. Because you never hunted up there, have you? Up in the UP?
No. Mm-mm. Oh yeah,
Eric, though.
I have, but it was years ago, and I only hunted for a weekend.
Eric's been up there a lot, hadn't he? He goes up there
Yeah,
about every year.
he's got a buddy who, one of the guys that comes with us on the hunts. Guys have seen him in the gun videos. Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff has a place up there, and we'll actually eat at his restaurant. And he's got a restaurant bar up there, and um, so we'll stay
Yep.
at his place and hunt too. And
Someone, David Fish has in Marquette. There's 42 inches on the ground, so I don't know if you're near Marquette, but that's a lot. That's a lot of snow. So what do they do? I guess I can imagine they eventually beat a path down. They all stay on that path because it's the only way to easiest.
Correct. And then if they
easiest
get in
path
a
to travel.
deer yard, then they'll knock all the snow down underneath the conifers and stuff, and they'll have a small area they're living in.
Yeah.
And that can be pretty good. But
Man,
like when they're on them travel routes, you know, when that snow is deep like that, if they're traveling from the high ground to the low ground,
yeah.
you can sit on one of those trails, and they're all going to go right down that exact trail
Mm-hmm.
because they can't really wander off of it if it's 3 feet of snow, you know.
Yep. It seems like it'd be pretty difficult though that time of year. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but man, I would think it'd be hard to hide from that many deer. You know, going through something
That
like
is the
that.
biggest problem because I've been in situations like that in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
You're hunting late season and those deer are all yarded up and they're going to one food source and they're coming from a bedding area, and you can get like 100 deer that are coming by you, and one of them's going to pick you off.
Oh yeah, I think so.
It's hard. So you got to hope one of your shooter bucks first one in, or you got a really good setup. And that's hard to do at this time of the year because there's no leaves or anything.
Yep.
But if you get the right tangle you can hide in, sometimes you can do okay.
How are you going to get around in that? I mean, that's freaking 4 feet of snow.
Well, we're not real sure about it. We're talking about it. He's going to bring a snowmobile, see if we can do that. We bought a big deep sled to haul our stuff in on the back of the snowmobile.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the Barber boys are planning on doing. I didn't talk to them about that. But some of it maybe we could just trudge in from the road. But I mean, even so, I mean, you fill your boots up with snow and stuff. It's nasty. You know, even if it's warmer, it's nasty. But one way or another, I'll get to them and hunt them.
Yep.
I mean, you can only drive the snowmobile so close too because the noise, right?
Right.
So,
it'd be interesting. It sounds like it could be kind of a physical hunt. I mean, with that much snow, it'd be hard to get around. But
yeah, I wish you could go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Illinois. I'll give you guys a funny story. I don't think he'll care. I told you this. I was talking to Andy May because I was thinking about going up to like southern Michigan, you know, that's not very far from my house. Like UP is like a 14-hour drive for me. And that's kind of why I didn't end up coming along for this trip. But I got to talking to him and I was like, you got any advice? And he was kind of him hauling and this and that. He goes, and I said, so he's like, well, so probably go to Illinois would be my advice. Because I guess they got a bunch of gun season still going on in the southern part of Michigan and, you know, whatever. And
they
go out
about that, yeah. There's
Yeah.
actually going to be guns going off while I'm up there too.
Yeah.
So it's a doe season.
Right.
For guns. But apparently I can go up there and bow hunt and I don't have to wear orange or any of that crap. I'm probably putting an orange cap anyway, but
the UP doesn't have the pressure.
I don't think there's gonna be much of anybody up there right now hunting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah. Some people are saying it's a private land doe season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Michigan just has they have almost two separate rule books for the UP and the southern part. A lot of people are also saying there's a lot of wolves up there, Dan. Oh, hmm.
They
Someone
don't
says
taste as good as the deer.
I'm
They taste
assuming.
like spotted eagle.
Do they have tags? Do they have wolf
Spotted
tags? Spotted owl. Yeah.
owl.
Do they have wolf tags up there? Can you get?
Um,
You know? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that opens and closes depending on who's in office.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
across the board.
I'd say you're probably right. I'm looking forward to this. I love these little like weird hunts that
Yeah.
go on that is just different.
Well,
Like,
you know me, I always pick the like impossible ones, but I like
yeah,
for me, I mean, for people that don't realize this, is I kind of like the challenge of going to places where everybody else goes or is stuck, and
mm-hmm.
going in there and proving it can be done, kind of thing. But when you take on challenges like that, you better expect some failure. You know,
Right.
it's hard to. I mean, it'd be real easy for me to go down to say someplace cushy like Illinois.
Right.
and
I'm
shoot.
not. I don't. Yeah,
I'm
I am.
just screwing with you because I was really thinking about doing Illinois like next year. I probably won't because I'm probably going to be in Iowa and Kansas or whatever.
Kansas, yeah.
But
Me too.
I do got to pick more big buck states if I want to.
Yeah.
Knock
Well,
some big bucks. But I love the Pennsylvania, the Michigans, the
yeah,
Minnesotas, where
yeah,
a lot of our viewers are, and they're struggling. And I want to go to those places where they're struggling and succeed. It's
yeah,
just there's something in me that wants to do that.
yeah. My, I'll be honest with you. The reason I wanted to go to Illinois is I've never been there. I like to go to, I'd like to get around to every state that has whitetail one, before I'm gone or not able to, I've never been to Illinois. I mean, I got public land within 3 hours of my house over there. I've never hunted it. I've never been over there. Tag's a little more expensive, but it's not like outrageously more than any place else. I thought about going down to Kentucky, but I go to Kentucky. I've been to Kentucky a whole bunch, and I was like, I'll just spend a little bit more money and go somewhere new.
Mm-hmm. I've had some pretty good hunts in Illinois. Illinois is a pretty good area.
Yeah, I'm
At least
excited.
it used to be. I haven't hunted down there in years, but I had some really good hunts down there.
I'm trying to time some like weather patterns and stuff for this time of year. Because I only got till January 15th to go over there, which isn't that's 2 weeks, from now, pretty much. And the weather just looks like it's going to be warm. It's my only like worry.
Weather matter. Go ahead and kill one.
Yeah.
Still there. They're still doing things. You could still kill them. You just have to hunt them for what they're doing. I mean, yeah, cold weather might kick them into a little more gear, but literally at this time of the year, they're going from bed to food and they're moving.
Yeah.
Like today was a lot warmer than we've had in the last 2 weeks. And man,
you're everywhere.
Seen all the deer out. I seen a really nice 10-pointer at 3 p.m. today. Where you can hunt? I was driving Carol to do some stuff because I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And we're driving around. She goes, "Look at the does." I'm like, "Look at the buck." And there's a big 10-pointer stands up. I'm like, "Holy crap!"
Yep. Yeah. I know.
So I mean, really, the best time to be there is when you get there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm excited about it. I'm ready. I'm ready to go out there and be hunting again. I haven't really hunted much I've been doe hunting a couple times, but not with a buck tag, It'll be good. What else? Is there anything else about Michigan? That kind of covers it. Gives everybody something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I hope we capture, the spirit of it, and I hope it comes across good. So I'll start putting those videos up as soon as I get back. I mean, it should be good.
Yep. We'll have quite a bit of content coming up here.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I mean, don't give up on the channels either because I'm hunting all through January in Wisconsin.
Yep. That's right.
Where I'm at is open through January, so.
Yep. Lots of time left for Dan to shoot one.
I'm going to be out there pounding.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm starting to see a lot of people post on Facebook about finding sheds and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, come on.
That's what annoys me about that doe season.
I saw we coincidentally talked about this couple twice in a row on these last two podcast or last two shows, but I saw Tiffany Lukoski shot a big one yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was, and the rack fell off when she shot it. Big, obviously, it was a big one. Every single one they shoot was a big one. But
I mean, there's been several times we found shed antlers during gun deer season, which is Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. Speaking of that, holy cow! I put that clip up about who that question we got asked last week about who we think the best hunter is, the best deer hunter is. Boy, people sure get offended by that question.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize how like touchy that is. No, I just thought it was like I thought it was just a fun, like it's just a fun thing to think about. It's not, I mean, people were talking about
if they're offended, they got some problem in their head.
Yeah, I'm just
who cares?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with like patting guys like Andy May and Mark Jury on the back and being like those guys are good. Like it's all right to acknowledge it. Like you don't have to have such an ego that you can't even like be like that guy's a good hunter. It's like, geez.
Right.
I was pretty taken back by the amount of negativity that was in that post. I was like, God.
Yeah, well,
like, people just get so.
The longer you're in this industry, the more you're going to see that people are just
negative
people. I mean,
I know.
The fact is, the majority of people that are watching us, listening and stuff, are great people that think just like us.
Right.
There are a few people that are just off their rocker. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you got some issue with maybe they think they're the greatest hunter in the world, so they're offended when you say it's that Mark's a good hunter or somebody else is a good hunter. Or...
Yeah, and I think if anybody's honest with us, like I don't know if there is the greatest hunter in the world. It's like who knows? But it's fun to think about it or talk about it.
Some guy that lives in a shack in Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean I know that. I mean I know that
down there. And they don't have huge bucks on her, and you'll never know who he is.
Yeah. I have a friend that's a really good hunter.
Leroy,
you're right. Only one name too, no last name. I have a friend that he's a really good hunter. He uses a longbow, but anyways, he was blacktail hunting, and blacktails are hard to kill. He was in, I think maybe California. I don't know, he's out west somewhere hunting these blacktails, and he came across a guy, that in the woods, the public land he was hunting. He was a local, and the guy invited him over for dinner that night. They got to talking, and he's like, "You ought to come over." He was by himself out there in California. He's like, "You ought to come over and eat dinner with us tonight, and maybe we'll talk about hunting." So he did, and I guess he went into his house, and like he had like 40 Pope and Young blacktails on the wall, and he was just like, nobody shoots a Pope and Young blacktail. Like it's just like it's a hard thing to do. I shouldn't say nobody, but it's just it's a task to shoot one, and the guy just had 40 of them, and he was like, just nobody knew who he was. Sat there and had figured out blacktails, but you wouldn't know who he is. I'm sure there's a whitetail guy like that too. Anyway, I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, we've gone into that in detail in the past about there is no greatest hunter, because what it takes to get the most and the best is usually being a butt of a person to your wife and your kids and everything else. So
yeah,
who's the greater hunter? The guy who treats his family like crap, or the guy who like yourself, who makes sure he spends time with your family and balances it.
Yeah.
So really, it's not apples and apples for anybody.
One
guy can be born on a ranch, that's 10,000 acres and have exclusive rights.
Yeah.
One guy can be born in the inner city and he doesn't even have a ride to get to the woods, but he's a good hunter,
Right.
So it's not apples to apples.
Yeah. I got irritated, I guess, because like people were saying like if you're one of the best hunters in the world, you got your priorities wrong or something. I'm just like, not necessarily. Maybe you're just freaking good at it, like
right. And who said that the guy who's the greatest hunter has the most bucks in the wall?
Right. No, not for sure.
I never said that. Did you?
No. Well, I think generally most people just read the headline and didn't actually watch the video.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
because they're like, I don't know how you can compare Andy and Mark Drury, and I'm like, we weren't,
I saw
we
one
had,
guy on the Beast Forum, and I won't name names, but
yeah,
he put down a guy who all of his deer have been taken out of the record books for poaching. Puts that
yeah,
guy's name down as that's the greatest hunter there is. Okay,
yeah. I know who you're talking
I
about.
think the guy was serious.
Oh man, you ready to take some questions?
Sure,
We've been on here for well over an hour now.
really.
Hour and 5 minutes. Let's all right, everybody. I'm gonna put the link to get on the show tonight in the comments. It's at the bottom of the comments right now. Just hop on there and uh, follow the directions. This streaming service is called StreamYard. It'll show you how to get in to the live stream, and just be patient with us if we're talking or something. You'll have to wait your turn to get on, but we'll get you on here if you call in. All right, let's just start with one down here at the bottom because um, we've gotten this question quite a few times, but it's always something that pops up here. People are just I've seen it twice in these comments is how do you dress for very cold weather, Dan?
Um, that used to always be a struggle for me because I would just put on more layers and I'd always be cold. But Mitch from Venato,
Mm-hmm.
as a gift, gave me a suit that's well insulated, and man, that thing has been just a lifesaver. It is so warm. It's a coat and it's coveralls. So with the right stuff, I mean, I don't even know if they make that stuff anymore. That was legendary stuff.
Yeah.
He used to work with Legendary. Um, Matter of fact, his grandfather started that business.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave me a really warm suit that has layers of insulation in it, and it's thin, so I could shoot a bow with it. And man, that is night and day from anything I've ever used before. So it's probably similar to like the heater bodysuit, only it's not as fat.
Yeah.
But that's what I use. I don't even know where you get something like that, so I'm probably
Mm-hmm.
not the right person to ask for clothes. I don't wear gloves. I wear a fingerless glove on my left hand, and I wear no glove on my right, so my hands are always cold. And I don't like anything on my face because it throws my shooting off. My hands
Right.
and my face too. So
Yep. Um, another I think the story of staying warm is like you gotta have to spend a little bit of money on some good clothes usually. Um, that just seems like
yeah,
the
I'd agree with
correlation of money you spend on clothing for extreme weather. That's
you.
there's a reason it's expensive because it is better. I got an IWAM, which is a form of a heater bodysuit I really like, but the difference is that heater bodysuit, like you're actually enclosed like a sleeping bag or something. So then with the heater bodysuit, you actually have to physically like come out to shoot and stuff. Whereas the IWAM has, it's like a big pair of coveralls. Essentially, your arms are actually you can use your arms outside of it, which is why I liked it better.
Yeah, I
But
have to be able to just stand perfectly still and draw when I need to draw. I can't be coming
yeah,
in and out of something.
but I've also some people swear by the heater bodysuit too, but I've just never. I know that's the reason I got the IWAM, but I have never used either one of them. Um, but a good set of coveralls is nice too. They work good too. The problem I have with coveralls is just I don't like walking around in them.
What do you think of acclimation?
I don't know. I've never tried it, so I like to be
So I,
warm all
I
the
think
time.
that well, I think that the reason that I do well in cold is because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I'm out
Oh,
all the time, and
I mean,
and
it's no secret that that's. I mean, that's a thing. It has to be because like you've got to take a guy down south, come up into Wisconsin, like they freeze in
all
like
right.
not cold weather.
Well, we're just
Um,
me and Carol were talking about that today. That I was out doing all kinds of stuff in a t-shirt. I thought it was like 35 degrees out. I was out in the yard doing all kinds of just enjoying this nice weather that we had today. And then she pointed out that it was 10 degrees out.
yeah.
And I just didn't know it because it was so cold last week that I'd gotten used to that weather and just felt so much warmer without a wind chill
Right.
today with the sun shining, but it was literally like 10 degrees, and I was out
Right.
there in a t-shirt and
Right.
just doing yard chores and enjoying it. But if you took that same 10 degrees and you put that 2 weeks ago, I'd have been freezing my butt off.
Right.
You get used to it. You literally get used to the cold. So I mean, if you're a weekend warrior and you go out every 2 weeks and you ain't been out in the cold in a month, and you go out there and you hit when it's -7, you're probably not going to be doing too well.
Right. Right. All right, we got a call in here, Dan.
Hey,
Hello.
guys.
How we
you
doing?
doing?
Hey, Dan, Josh,
Hey.
I have to ask you, how do you pronounce your name?
Oleg, like old
Oleg.
leg.
Oleg.
Oh,
Okay.
jello backwards.
Got it. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, you hear it all in the army. Hey,
I didn't want to
have a
butcher
question. Nah, you good, man. Trust me, I heard it all. In 6
I
years
bet.
and 80 seconds, I heard it all. Hey, on the subject of people doing their own thing, I know Dan have been really fed up with stuff throughout the year. I mean, I watched a lot of videos on the subject. So I felt like $1,000,000 today when I was driving for this hunt because I thought I found this overlook spot with access probably 2 miles from the parking lot where you must park. Got my electric bike, was gonna roll out there, and luckily I decided to stop by and check out, kind of do preliminary scouting before I go park the car and ride my bike. And when I pulled up there, I learned that the access to public is fenced off as part of the private land around there, which was not showing up on Hunt Stand or on any of the maps that I've looked at over past whatever while I was map scouting. Came back home, checked GIS maps for the county, and same thing. So the question is, have you guys run into such situations before, where you, based on GIS maps, you should be able to get to the public from the road, but unfortunately, due to what you see, you can't. And also, if I was to do something about it, like beach gripe complaint, have you dealt with it? Have you heard what's the proper way of addressing such thing?
So for me, when I have any questions about land borders or anything, I just call the local warden usually. But I've never found anything that's different on like Hunt Stand or Onyx than was really there. But if I had any question about it, if I saw something posted and it showed me on those features that it wasn't, I would certainly question it. I would call up your local warden and talk to him about it and find out. If he can't help you, maybe I'd try the biologist, because the biologist has to be able to access all the public lands. So the biologist should know too. Sometimes I have ran into landowners who post public land as private land, and they do it to deter people from going on it, and they get away with it for a while. And they actually have to be caught putting the signs up to get busted, but they will do that. And so it is possible that, matter of fact, if Hunt Stand and Onyx showed it as public land, I would have a hard time believing it's not.
Oh, I even checked, like right before calling, actually, I even checked county map, and it matched Onyx and Hunt Stand, what have you. So,
I would say,
yeah.
Call the warden and the biologist. I don't know how it is in your state, but where I'm at, I can search that online and find their email addresses and their phone numbers. And I just call
I'm right south of you. Yeah, I'm in Illinois, right south of you. As a matter of fact,
I'm betting you can do that, because I just did it for Michigan. I've done it for these states that I travel to on my workshops and stuff. I'll call the biologist up and ask them questions about deer density and stuff. So I'm sure you can get a hold of those guys, and they should be able to answer those questions for you. I would imagine that from the sounds of it, I would say there's a good chance that that guy's posting that land and it is actually public.
Oh, it's not even posted. I mean, fenced off, barbed wire, gate, all 9 yards. You probably know what the place is. It's right at the south of the border, Chain of Lakes. It's on the backside of Chain of Lakes State Park. Yes, Josh, you're not the only one with children. This
Yeah,
year,
I
I
know.
was able to. Prior 9 years, I was by middle October, I would be in 7 hunts already. This year, she's out of daycare, and literally today was my seventh hunt. I mean, Weekend Warriors make me look bad this year.
I don't know. She looks kind of like a killer. Maybe you got to get her out.
Oh, she is. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for your time.
Thanks. Bye. That is something that can be frustrating when as a public landowner. We got a place here that's, I think, landlocked. I can't figure out how to get into it. I'd love to get into it, but there's Onyx shows a road that's supposed to go into it, but there's no road there or anything. So I don't know. I need to talk to the game
I've
warden.
had a couple of different times when I've come up to a public land that I've hunted before, and now all of a sudden there's a private property sign on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is right where I access. Come on. I know this is public.
Right.
And I've called the warden and said, hey, man, somebody posted this land as public. And he's told me, well, that land's been sold. I'm like, oh. And where I almost just took it for granted that somebody posted it, you know what I mean? So you do have to kind of check that stuff out because you could be wrong.
Right. Someone asked, in your opinion, is camo pattern orange a better choice than plain orange?
I would think so. Yeah. I would think it's better to break up your outline for sure.
Yep.
It's not legal everywhere, though. Not every state will allow you to use break up orange, and some states have a limit on how much you can do it.
Right.
Some places will say you can't do it on your hat. So you do have to look at the laws because different companies will sell stuff that doesn't mean it's legal.
Right. New Hampshire Outdoors asked if we ever want to go to New Hampshire deer hunting. I do. I'd love to go out east.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. Some of those states are actually pretty good too. I mean, I think there's some decent sized deer out there.
Ain't that where they got those those little tiny marsh deer?
Sika or whatever they're called, deer. Yeah, I'd love to go hunt those. I'm going to go do that sometime. That's a fact. I will go do that.
Well, get that guy on here. Let's arrange a hunt.
Figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
I got a question that it's not in the comments. Someone asked me on Facebook Messenger. They have a scenario, and I didn't have a good answer for him, but he has a scenario on a piece of public I've never heard of where the DNR has trees that you're allowed to hunt, like you have marked places where you can sit at. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, they got one right down the street from me. I won't hunt it.
Really? He was asking about it.
It's like a in-town hunt over by me, and they've got some guy who thinks he's a hunter who manages it, and he sets up tree stands, and the tree stands are numbered like 1 through 12, and when you get picked to hunt, you get told what stand to go to, and you have to hunt out of that tree, and that's how they keep people from getting too close to land borders or places they don't want them to hunt or whatever. But literally every day a new hunter goes to that tree.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be interested. You know, look at how I go through. I won't hunt a spot for a year. I'll go in there once, and then maybe I even skip a year before I hunt it again. Then to go to a tree that everybody hunts out of, that's just ridiculous to me. I don't have any interest in that.
There you go.
I mean, they take it like hunters are so dangerous, or a bow hunter's going to go kill somebody or something, and literally that's just ridiculous. They should just say this is the section you have to stay within. But there are places like that. Yes, that's a trend with townships and stuff now. I mean, these guys kind of take it for granted that everybody hunts the same, like you rotate through stands kind of thing, and everybody hunts like that.
Who do you think I am? Asked Dan. What are your cabin days after season chores? I don't know exactly what a cabin day is, but you have any?
What cabin day is either.
How about this? What are some chores you have to get done outside of deer season? Yeah.
Prepare for deer season. I don't know. I'm always thinking deer. I mean,
you do a lot with Carol though, with the rescue business though.
I just do that all the time.
Yeah. When you're not hunting, that's something you spend a lot of time doing, right?
I think I'm always thinking about deer. When deer season ends, I'm scouting. I'm planning. I'm plotting. I'm doing seminars. I'm writing. Uh, Everything in my life revolves around deer.
Right.
Sad as that sounds, that's who I am. It's what I am. It's probably the reason I have the success I have is because that's all I think about.
Yeah. It is always in the back of my mind too. I mean, no matter what I'm doing, if I am doing chores, it's just like it's almost just I got to get this done so I can go out deer hunting, or get so I can
If you
focus
talk
on
to
it.
great hunters, I mean, you ask them, do you fish? Well, I used to. I like fishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't do it anymore because all you think about is hunting. Even when it's fishing season, it's some sort of backdoor hunting season too. You're doing something. It's why I don't hunt anything else. No, I'd still mingle with bears and the occasional, exotic. Like I'd like to do a moose one time or something, but it always revolves back to deer because that's what I do. It's who I am, and
Right.
it's even in the off season. It's just what it is what it is.
I'm the same way. I mean, I used to have all kinds of hobbies that I used to do when I was younger and had, a little more free time and less responsibility. And those things just kind of fade away after a while. And, deer hunt never, ever does. Someone asked, Kylie Pegg asked, do the older mature bucks bed around with the does this time of year?
What are your thoughts?
I don't think so. Not the old mature ones. I don't know. I saw last night I was glassing across the road because there's a bunch of deer out there.
Mm-hmm.
And just like they always do, there was a bunch of does and a couple small bucks out in the field. And a nicer buck came out in a completely different area, came out in the field late, all that kind of stuff. Just didn't seem like he was even in the same,
I think often they're bedded really close, but I don't think they're like they're not part of the family group.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that. The only time I really see bunched up bedding with bucks or mature bucks is when they're bachelor groups, and then it's all male. But that's not to say they don't come out with those at this time of the year. And at this time of the year, you will see large groups of deer come out of the same bedding, and some of them will be mature bucks, especially like in the colder weather and the further north you go. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're bedding together. They're just picking the same type of terrain to bed in, and they're bedding near each other, which you could look at as bedding together, but not. Even during early season, you see that. You'll see how a classic bedding point will have does bedding on the higher ground just before you get down to the lower area where the bucks are.
Mm-hmm.
The old school thing, like my dad used to say, well, the bucks use the does for protection. They bed behind them. That's both true and false. They're doing it, but they're not doing it on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do see that when they're bedded close to each other, I really do believe that the bucks will move earlier if they're bedded near does. When them does get up and move earlier, like the young ones, they seem to not wait as long to get up and move too.
Right.
But that's my take on it.
Okay. Stephanie B asked, if you shoot a deer you suspect of having CWD, would you get it tested?
I would not.
I wouldn't either. I don't know why I wouldn't. I just wouldn't fool with it. I don't know if
But on the other hand, which will be the next question that comes, I'll just answer it now. If I knew it had CWD, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat a sick deer. I wouldn't eat it if it had like a flu. But if I knew a deer was sick, I wouldn't eat it. But if I don't know, I don't care.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I wouldn't get it tested.
Yeah. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I mean, I don't know. We don't have options really around in Indiana. I mean, I guess you probably could send it off, but they don't really promote it or anything around here. So
yeah, I killed a woodchuck that was rabid one time. Somebody told me that you have to eat everything you kill, and I'm sure I wouldn't get rabies from eating the meat cooked, but I ain't eating that.
Yeah. Okay. Matthew, he asked, how does a cold front kick off rut, or does it?
Well, my answer might differ from yours. I don't think
Okay.
it does. I think rut is at the exact same time every year. My opinion is, and I would say this is not just my opinion, I'd say it's fact, that rut, it kicks off at an exact timing every year. Now that might vary region to region, and the reason it varies region to region is genetics or whatever. The date varies for different deer, but you know how they make deer scents, deer
Yeah.
urine when it's real urine. They turn the lights on and off at inside of a dark facility because the amount of daylight in a day is what triggers the rut, and they've already proven that. Biologists have proven that it's an exact timing based on the light, the amount of light in a day that causes it. Now, you might see different variances of rut based on whether the deer are moving at day or at night. But and if you look at when the fawns are born at the exact same times every year. So they're breeding at the exact same times every year. So the rut goes on when the rut goes on. You know, the intensity and what you see might vary, but in my opinion, the rut isn't kicked off by a cold front. You might see more activity during the cold front,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't think it has anything to do with kicking the rut off.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say I don't think it really kicks it off per se. It may make movement better for you during daylight hours, but you know, I don't think it's like a sure thing that because of this cold front's coming through, the rut's going to start for some particular reason. Yeah, if it's hot, I mean a couple years ago in Indiana, it was freaking hot. All from end of October till the middle of November is hot, like 80 degrees. And I mean, the rut still happens. You know, they don't not breed that year because it was a little bit warm. Anyway, Elizabeth gave us a gigantic donation. We appreciate that, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Merry Christmas. She didn't have a question or anything. If you have a question, Elizabeth, feel free to ask away. But Merry Christmas and thanks for the support. Let's see here. Someone's asking about the Mario's hunt, if that's going to be on the channel, Dan.
He told me he was editing and it's going to be on the channel. He wanted to do it himself. So
Yep.
We'll wait and see. I would really rather he got it up quickly. I like the stuff to come out in a timely manner, but he has a lot of problems in his family life right now. Some things going on. So I'm not going to push him. We'll just be happy when it comes out.
But it's something. It'll probably something you can look forward to here coming up to watch. It was a nice deer Mario killed too.
Yeah.
The New Hampshire outdoor guy says it's New Jersey that has the Sitka deers, not New Hampshire. So we knew it was one of them new ones.
I was close.
Yeah. Someone asked about Zeke Outdoor says I would love to see some mule deer hunts. Any chance of that? You ever mule deer hunt, Dan?
I wouldn't say I actually hunted them, but I shot at one once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a tag for either or, and jumped out and shot at one.
I will eventually go on one Zeke Outdoors. I mean, I've been on a couple. I'll go again. So yeah, it'll be on the Hunting Beast whenever I do go again.
I don't have any plans on it, but you never know what happens.
Yep, I really enjoy it. I enjoy the Western feel of things. I'm just saving up some points at the moment to go somewhere real good. I won't go. I won't go every year, but obviously I didn't go this year. But I'll probably go.
Exotics. What would you want to go after?
I'd go to exotics. I'd go to Africa.
Not necessarily exotics, but I mean, if you're going to pick some animal other than whitetails, what are your choices? What's your bucket list?
Probably a mountain goat. For me, I like the idea of going up to 13,000 feet, and I think they're really cool animals. I don't think it's an overly, if you could draw the tag, I don't think it's an overly hard hunt, but I don't know. But then a moose too. I'd like to go shoot a moose sometime, but I think a moose is a little more doable than a mountain goat for tag draws and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can pay to go shoot a mountain goat in Canada, but it's a lot of money. I just don't think I'll ever be able to fork over that kind of cash to go shoot one. But I don't know. That's probably what I would pick if I had to pick one.
For me, it would be a moose or Kodiak grizzly. Or, or an inland brown bear,
Mm-hmm.
or mountain lion,
Yep.
African
Some of those,
lion, cool.
yeah, yeah. Oh, talk about getting hate. Something else that I'm going to do sometime is I want to go to Alaska and hunt blacktails or Sitka deer in Alaska. The Sitka blacktails, I guess, is what they're technically called, or something like that. I could be completely wrong too, but that's a pretty adventurous hunt that I think would be kind of like whitetail hunting, but just go to Alaska to do something like that would be really cool. A friend of mine has went a handful of times, and it seems like a blast, and he always gets a couple nice ones. You can get two. So,
do you remember Kurt from my workshops?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he bought a place in Alaska. He keeps inviting me out there to hunt. Says
you should go.
Bring Josh.
Well,
I told him, I said, Josh does not want to go.
I don't think that Alaska is expensive to hunt. I think it's to get over there is what costs you the money.
He's talking about he's kind of freed himself up. He sold his company and stuff, and he wants to get a guide's license and just go out and go after some of this game and stuff and get a pilot's license. And he's got a little bit of money, so. And he's like, you want to come on? We'll go chase all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to, but I don't know how much he knows about it, but it sounds fun.
Yeah. My couple buddies went on a hunt in Alaska on a charter boat where you would you slept on the boat and whatnot, and then they drop you off on the bank and you go black bear hunting. And then during, of course, it's light a lot of hours in Alaska, and then you could fish too if you wanted to, or whatever you wanted to do after you tagged out. All right, let's answer a couple more here. It's getting to be, we've been on here over an hour and a half, but Daniel asked, do you hunt any differently with the wolves being so prevalent up there in Michigan?
No, it doesn't really affect me much. You just know they're there. I mean, I don't think they're coming after people or anything. I don't think it really affects me. I think it affects deer numbers maybe, but me personally, I don't think it affects me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm scrolling through, see if we got any more questions. I'm sure we do, but
they're asked today because I don't know if I'll be here next Thursday. I might be on the road.
Yeah, we'll have a weird probably schedule in the next week or so.
You'd have Elizabeth on. She gave you $50. You should.
Right. Let's see here. I don't see any other ones that we haven't really answered in the past, or things that aren't too specific. Anyway, well, Dan, good luck hunting. We won't see you until after, but that'll probably be the show afterwards. After the show on YouTube goes up, we'll probably talk about the hunt then. Get Eric on and maybe the Barber boys and see how it went.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep. Anyway, all right, everybody. Have a merry late Christmas, I guess is what you would say, and we'll see everybody. Ho ho, yeah. We'll see everybody on the next one, and good luck if you're gonna go hunting between now and then. See ya.
Good night, everybody.